Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 43 in the series. Wasn't planning on recording something today, but I had this inspiration. Sometimes a topic just comes to mind that I wasn't planning on speaking about, and I thought some insights on time would be in order. Very interesting subject, time, and what time does to us or does not do for us. So let's take a look at time for a second. Many quotes attributed to time. Time is money. No time like the present. All right. One of my other ones I just read recently, attributed to Mother Teresa, is that yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come. We only have today. Let us begin. So what is everybody, trying to say about this? These people talking about words of wisdom. And what am I trying to say? There is one time in your life that matters most in terms of getting to where you want to be in life and having the fulfillment and success in your practice and having the kind of life in business and life in general you want to have. And that time is now, all right? Not later, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is a way of never coming. It's interesting. Think about this for a second. Another interesting thing that I saw somewhere. Time, the past is always growing. Past is always growing. Every minute that goes by, your past is growing while your future is receding. Think about that for a second. Interesting way of looking at it. We only have a finite period of time on this earth, or in business for that matter. Let's take that. Something a little less severe. So why waste time? Why procrastinate? Why sacrifice that time? We let this time goes by. The clock is always ticking. Possibilities always passing us by. Right? And then regret sets in. And what is regret? Now, regret is the effort or the intention or the wish or the desire for time to go backwards, which is crazy, right? Unless you have a time machine. If you have a DeLorean in your garage you can jump into and go back in time. And I just dated myself, so anybody knows what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about a DeLorean time machine, go look it up on YouTube, all right? But, you can't do it. I mean, you look at the sanity level of people and the sanity level of doctors that I'm working with. You can break things. I always talk about the psychotic practices or psychotic doctors and psychotic people, and neurotic doctors, neurotic people, and sane doctors and sane people. They fall, and it all relates to time. Very interesting. Think about this for a second, right? Psychotic people look at the past. They live in the past. Oh, but they're always woe with me about the past and what could have been, what didn't happen. Oh, when things used to be so much better in the past. I always remember growing up in an Italian family, and we had these family get-togethers, and it never ceased to amaze me that I used to get these relatives get together, and there was always one or two women, and they were dressed from head to toe in black, in mourning, and I'm like, well, what's that all about? Oh, yes, she lost your uncle Frank died. And I go, 30 years ago. Think about this for a second. You're mourning and living in the past for 30 years. I understand. It's terrible. You lose a spouse. You lose someone. You got to move. But at some point, you have to make a decision. Are we going to move on in life, or are we going to live stuck in the past? Dwelling on that's not bringing it back. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make it any better. Right? We do suffer losses in practice. We do suffer setbacks. Do you want to dwell on those things? You want to live in those things? Oh, I had a terrible past. I hear this all the time. Terrible past experience with a consultant. It was terrible. I wasted so much time and money. What does that mean? You give up trying? You don't find someone better? You don't work with someone that would make a better choice this time? Learn from more mistakes? What do you do in patients say that to you? Well, that's just terrible dental experiences. You should never go to the dentist anymore. Or do you tell them, you got to find a good one? And that's how it goes, So, and living in the past and dwelling on the past day in and day out, all right, is psychotic. Because you cannot change it. It's done. It's over with, right? And remember, that past is constantly growing. Not good. Now, neurotic people or neurotic practices or neurotic doctors tend to be overly preoccupied with what's going on right this second. All right? A little visual for you there. All right? They're just stressed out, overwhelmed, freaking out about what's going on right in the moment. That's like tunnel vision. We're not looking long at that point. We're just stressed about what's going on at the moment. And we get so wrapped up on what's going on right this very second, we forget to look toward and be concerned with the future and planning of it. And that's what sane people do, okay? They're operating in the present time, and they're looking toward the future and planning for it to make it happen, right? And you know what? I want to predict the future. I think I might have. I hope I didn't say this. Well, maybe I did. Whatever. It's worth repeating again. I'm talking about how to predict the future. You be causative in the present. You make something happen in the present. Oh, Mike, I want to make $1 million, this year in practice, but I never did more than 500,000. Well, guess what? You better get planning right now, and start doing something now, because guess what? The future is receding as we speak. So if you want to get there, you better start getting on it right now, and not procrastinate, and not be in our head. And how many times I meet a doctor? Oh, I got to wait on this. If I had $1 for every doctor that's waiting to do my program, I'd be a rich man. All right, they're in limbo. Well, what's going to happen? What are you waiting for? What circumstances are going to occur that everything's going to line up in life? Life has a way of getting in the way, doesn't it? All the best laid plans of mice and men, as they say. You plan, well, once I get the perfect staff in place, or once I get my building remodeled, or once I get this piece of equipment and this class done, or once I get some things in order in my personal life, and it goes on and on and on. It never ends. There's always going to be something. All right. So the thing is, stop making excuses about that and procrastinating and going to our head. These considerations, these thoughts we put there in our head, based in hopeful, wishful thinking that something's going to occur. If you have a negative situation going on in let's say with your health, and you have a patient with an oral health problem, and they're there saying, I want to wait, and you let them wait, is that problem going to get better or worse with time? Ask yourself that question. Is that problem going to get better or worse? Of course it's going to get worse. If you have a health condition there, it's going to get worse. How is your practice magically going to get better on its own if you just leave it the way it is? And let's see hope. Let's hope. Remember, go back at my earlier Dental Road Warrior series. My 3 favorite words: hope, try, and pray. It's fool's paradise. Not happening. You can hope, try, and pray all you want. That practice is not going to change unless you do something about it now in the present time. And we spend so much time filling up time. We control time. People that have control over time, they get a lot done. You marvel at these people that say, wow, the guy is a powerhouse. It's incredible. Go back. There's a great documentary if you've seen this. I don't know when you're watching this video. I just watched it recently on Steven Spielberg. I think it's on HBO. If it's not on HBO, it's on one of those cable channels. Go look it up, about this man's life and about what he accomplished from a young age to now. It's incredible what he gets done in the time that he's done in his life. Amazing levels of accomplishment. And you might think, how can anybody do that? Well, you know what? He has more control over time than you. He's got more ability to manage time, because all time is what we agree on it is. There's only so many hours in a day. Well, says who? We've all decided there's 24 hours a day. Do we know, if there's 24 hours a day? No, we all agreed there's 24 hours a day, so we settle on that. We make up our calendar. We decided the calendar is this way. We decided, time is, minutes in a day, whatever. But it's what you do with that, whatever it is. I feel sometimes I get done more in a day than most people get done in a week or a month sometimes. All right? I mean, that's up to you. Your drive, your discipline, your dedication, your desire to want to do something with time rather than time do something with you. All right? That's the difference. There's an old adage, or there's an old story about a law as applies to time. It's called Parkinson's law. Never anybody have heard of Parkinson's law before. What is Parkinson's law? Parkinson's law states if you take 2 people and you give them 2 paintbrushes and 2 cans of paint, and put them in a room, and tell them you have 8 hours to paint this room, it takes 8 hours. You take 2 other people and put them in the same size room with 2 paintbrushes and 2 buckets of paint, and say you got 2 hours to paint this room, it gets painted in 2 hours. Because as human beings, we tend to fill up time, and most of the time we fill up time with wasted time, not productive time. Ask yourself, how many hours of your day on a daily basis are productive? Think about that for a second. How many are really productive? And I don't mean making money only. I mean productive in terms of you getting closer to achieving your goals, what you want to have, what you want to create in life for yourself on any level. How many of those hours of your day are productive? Guess what? Recreational time can be that can be important too. Taking some downtime for yourself, that's a good thing. Nothing wrong with that as well. It's all about having a balance. But again, it's all what you do with time. Don't put off now. Right? Now is the most powerful time, the present time. Right? Do something with the ability right now, because as I said before, think about it. It's an interesting concept. The future is constantly receding. Right? And you don't want to be, go back and look back and regret. How many times ask people, that are on their, that are at the end of their life, and they're looking back on their life, or they're close, their health is failing them, and they're on their deathbed, how many people will say, "Oh, if I only had more time"? Well, you had more time at one time. What did you do with it? You wasted it. You procrastinated it. You put it off. You didn't handle it now, which is the most powerful time to do something about achieving your goals and about achieving your success in practice. Don't squander that. All right. So again, hope you like the little words of wisdom. I'm coming down off my soapbox right now, and so if you're enjoying, again, this episodes of Dental Road Warrior, please share them, and I will be back soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.